Hello everyone and welcome back to Let's Create Elementia. Today's going to be a bit of an interesting one. Now, as you remember from when we tried to build this building, timelapse didn't exactly work. I think I figured out the issue, so hopefully today we won't have that issue. It's a weird issue apparently with the replay mod that is known, and it has to do with when mods update, it doesn't like modded blocks. Who knew? But that being said, we are going to be starting to do some more work, and we will be time-lapsing it this time, thankfully. So again, apologies for that. But I think I'm starting to outgrow this little house. Just a small bit. I mean, let's be honest, our storage is bigger than the house that we were starting in. So, what I'm likely thinking of doing is starting on the village, way out in that direction. And I have an idea on how to make it too. But in order to do that, we're going to need some minecarts. Probably about 10. I'll make 20 just in case. So, let's get a move on. And I don't know why I went in here, because that's not where my stuff is. That's going to get something taking used to, ain't it? Now, as you remember, I moved all of the precious stuff over into here. And here's our iron, which is what we really need. Oh. This will only make 10 cards, I'm aware. But on. There we go. I can make carts, I swear it. Oh, my inventory's empty. Oh, right. That all has to do. Why did I do it that way? Cool. Apologies. That actually had to do with fixing the replay mod. Completely forgot to reset after that. My bad. So, if we take a look at our handy dandy map right here, we're probably going to be putting our village somewhere around here. Oh, I know why that's doing that. It's because I'm inside a building. Probably about here where I'm thinking of putting the village. And thankfully, we actually have a village over here. And I'm thinking of just transplanting all of that. But in order to do that, we're going to need to use our minecarts and a bunch of super glue. So, let's get started. Let's slow down for a little bit and take some time to kind of go over what Elementia is. Now, obviously, Elementia is a theme park. There's no disregarding that. But what is it in universe? What exactly is the story behind Elementia? Well, Elementia was created by a company by the name of Earth-Centric Solutions. It's a green energy and renewable sources kind of company. Now, obviously, you're thinking to yourself, what in the world is a company that focuses on solar panels and wind turbines going to do with a theme park? And that's the exact problem that they encountered. See, Earth-Centric Solutions is, at its heart, a company of people that want to do good around the world. They want to help people kind of rejoin with nature in a sense. And what's the best way of doing that than to teach people? Now, obviously, there's a lot of ways you can go about teaching people. You can go to schools, you can put up flyers, you can do advertisement billboards. Earth-centric solutions decided to do something slightly different, though. They decided to take the route of edutainment. Now, edutainment is a concept whereby you teach people through entertaining them. It's very common, actually, in a lot of museums. You see those little stands around with little blurbs that find kind of little jokes and that sort of stuff that kind of settle in the back of your mind. That there is part of edutainment. When you play with little toys in, say, the Discovery Center at Universal's Islands of Adventure, that's edutainment because you're learning through being entertained. Earth-centric solutions decided to do the same thing. They decided to make a theme park. The theme park obviously is a bit more than just, hey, come check out our company. It's a bit more than just that. It's about trying to teach people about Earth itself as well, and also, obviously, about their company. That's the reason why, when you enter into the park, you're actually going to pass by the wind farm that is going to be supplying most, if not all, of the power to the park, which, obviously, being a great way of kind of showing off themselves, they're going to tell you about. Now, as you may remember, the park is kind of in an awkward position. It's kind of in the middle of a giant peninsula, honestly. Unfortunately, this is where the problems that they start to encounter kind of come in. See, when you have a company that focuses mostly on recycling and energy solutions, wanting to come to investors and say, hey, we want to build a theme park, that's not going to go over particularly well, as you can imagine. Unfortunately, that's exactly what happened, and they kind of got laughed out on some level. So they didn't really have as much money as they would have liked in order to create the park. So they went with the next best solution: partnerships, sponsorships. What better way of showing that they mean good than to partner with a park, or rather, a national park? See, Elementia is in a weird location in that it's right next to a national park. To the south of the park is a national park, which, while very beneficial for the theme park, does offer some unique challenges. Namely, how do you get parking lots in a national park? Earth-centric solutions decided to take a different route in this regard, in that their parking lot is not actually directly connected to their theme park. It is rather connected to the nearby city, which is going to be what was originally the support city, which you can see currently being partially built on screen, specifically the port area of said city. From there, they would take a boat and, via ferry, go to the entrance of Elementia. This port also serves as where employees will take a ferry to go to the backstage area as well. Let's take a closer look at what's going on here, shall we? One of these days I'm going to remember to stop pausing the recording and forgetting to turn it back on. So, as you hopefully heard during the time lapse, this is going to be a kind of port area, mostly support for the park as well as just the general port area for the city, town, city. Not sure which of the two it's going to be yet, necessarily. I probably will have by the time I record the story for the time lapse, though. So, ignore me currently rambling. As you can see, we did bring some of the buildings in, mostly just so that I have something to kind of start off with, and also I'm thinking of turning them into like work shacks, if that makes any kind of sense. Also hopefully to start getting some villagers in so we can start using them for trades, which would be really useful. But right now, I think we should probably start figuring out where we want to put buildings. So over there, I started an actual like pier, and that's eventually going to be a couple different piers all along here. But this is actually been thanks to the leather randomizer bag from Effortless Building, because I suck at randomizing. It's one of my biggest issues, or downfalls rather, when it comes to building. I'm horrible at texturing. I can build basic buildings just fine. I'm just horrible at doing this texture work. So this randomizer bag is going to be a godsend, though it may be disappearing soon, because I found a different mod that I think I might swap over to that does practically the exact same thing, with the exception of it also adds in like build what I would refer to as building wands, which will allow me to kind of build big swaths of stuff easily. Effortless building does include something like that, but I don't like the way it works. It feels a bit too cheaty. So I'm thinking of taking this out and putting in the other mod to make sure I feel like I'm less cheating. I'm more uh, authentically playing, if you will. I know that sounds really weird, but sometimes the brain works in weird ways that you can't really easily describe. So we'll just go with that. So currently, we have a bit of a decision to make actually now, which is what is the first factory that I'm going to be putting in here. And I'm thinking it might actually be a tough factory. So the create mod has a bit of an interesting progression tree, if you will, uh, which is kind of weird to explain. But we look at tough as a block. We go into the crushing area. I hear a zombie nearby. Good riddance. As I was saying. Oops, wrong one. There we go. If we look at tough as a building block and we go into the crushing area, you will notice that it gives iron, zinc, copper, and gold, and flint, but flint's not particularly useful right now, which is great because those are some of the really big uh, items that we're going to be needing in the near future. Specifically, iron and zinc for our andesite casings and andesite alloy for all of our various stuff. So I'm thinking that we'll probably want to start working on that. However, there is a bit more progression that needs to happen before we get there, unfortunately. So I'm going to tag that. But in order to start doing this, we actually need to get crushing wheels. And crushing wheels are... Oh, that's from the design and decor, sorry. Are a bit tricky to make. They require mechanical crafters, which, memory serves me, aren't too bad. Yeah. So they require electron tubes, brass casing, and crafting tables. The brass casing is kind of annoying, but thankfully we can make it fairly easily. It's the whole reason we got calcifer in the first place. Uh, but we'll also need a bunch of electron tubes, which might be a bit tricky to do. Oh, it all appears to be night. Let's deal with that really quickly. So the we're going to there we go, mechanical drafter. So again, that needs an electron tube. That actually needs 21 of them, and they make 3, so we need about 7 of each of these. Oh boy, that's gonna take a bit. I've got a whole inventory full of stuff that I don't really need right now. Actually, a lot of this is actually just stuff that I will need very shortly. Oops, that's not what I want to do. Because we will be using some of these for building out this whole area. I'm actually going to put all of the textured stuff here. Wonderful. And I've got a bunch of other stuff I actually probably should be getting rid of. So uh, let us head to the main, well, I say main base, to the backstage area and start kind of getting stuff together. So I will see you guys over there. All right. So we're back here. Let me deal with some of this stuff really quickly. So got some raw zinc. I actually already smelted the copper that I had in my inventory. Didn't even think to record that. My bad. So in order to make what we need, we will need redstone, which we might need to go get some more because we're down to 48, and a lot more nether quartz. So we're probably gonna have to go mining in the nether pretty soon. Not sure when. That's not what I needed. That's what I needed. So that gives us 4 out of 7, which is not too bad. See, that gets us to, so we're actually don't need too much more redstone, thankfully. There's our sandpaper. Let's go ahead and start making these really quickly. Not sure what I'm looking in there for. Oh, actually, I do know what I need. I need iron. 4, yeah. 4. Go ahead and mash these into plates. Wonderful. Ah. Oh. Thinking we might need to make an automated food farm pretty shortly, too. Because I am getting sick of continuously starving. There we go. That back. Awesome. So there's our electron tubes. We will need some brass. Don't have, I think, any set up. So that's copper and zinc, I believe. For how often I play with the create mod, I'm poor at remembering some of these recipes. Yeah, it is copper and zinc. Give Calcifer some food. There you go, Cals. Well, that's working. Let me actually deal with tree farm because it appears to have overgrown. Not entirely sure how. Oh, there it is. There we go. should slowly reset itself. Though we will need to deal with that soon, I have the feeling. Pretty sure that's actually a byproduct of loading and unloading a chunk, unfortunately. Which, because we keep going back and forth from the city to back here, it might be a problem for a bit. So that might be a bit tricky for a little bit. Yeah, eventually it'll fit. Reset itself. That should be done. Cool. That's 8. Forget it doubles. That's actually more than enough for what we need. Except I need to go back here to... Oh no, I don't. Because I don't have an axe. Yay, I'm always forgetting something. How am I forgetting something? I don't even have any. That's a problem. Let's make an axe really quickly. Wonderful. Okay, cool. So there is our grass casings. Let us head back over this way. Come on. There you go. And I'm actually going to store these temporarily. Just so I know where they are. Because we need to still get more netherite. Netherite? Oh, my brain just had a massive brain fart. Sorry, not netherite. We need nether quartz to make more of the electron tubes, and we'll also need more redstone. So I'm going to have to go and do some of that mining. But I was actually thinking about it. And while, yes, I would love to have a crusher right from the get-go, we do have a small problem with power. And I might need to deal with that very shortly. Which means we might start working on another building here. Which is going to be kind of an interesting one, because while I do want to immediately start focusing on power, we need to build some stuff to help us build power. Specifically, we need a workshop, which is going to be over here somewhere, because most likely there's going to be 2 different workshops. So we're going to have the one for the park and then the one back over at the city over there. And this is going to be an interesting workshop for the park, because it's not just going to be a regular workshop. It's going to be central shops. For those of you that aren't in the theme park industry and don't pay attention to it a lot, as a industry, for every ride, you have to, at least in the US, completely disassemble and reassemble a ride vehicle, checking every single part of it every year. And a lot of you will scratch your heads and think, well, that doesn't make any sense, because a lot of times for parks that are open year round, the ride doesn't go down. Well, central shops is how we do that. Throughout the entire course of the year, we'll send a single ride vehicle to the shops to be broken down and rebuilt, get sent back to the ride, and then a different ride vehicle will get sent back to the shops. It's what's called their annual. And central shops here is going to be where we're designing our ride vehicles. So once we start actually getting central shops done here, we're going to be able to start working on the ride vehicles, which is going to be fun for us because I have some neat ideas. But let's deal with the water first that is currently raining ahead. Central shops here is going to be also a bit funky to deal with because it's going to be somewhere in this area. And I'm not sure where just yet. Nor am I kind of super certain on what I want the shape of the building to be like. I'm thinking kind of an L shape, or a corner shape, if you will. Let me take a look here and see what we've got. So, probably, I'm thinking maybe around here-ish? Possibly. Because we want it to be kind of near the tool crib, because we're going to be going back and forth getting a lot of parts for all the ride vehicles and all that sort of stuff. So you have to think logistically about, in real life, where stuff is going to be. So likely it would probably be roughly around here. Shut up. Trying to talk here. I'm trying to talk. Let me talk. Ow. 8 baby zombies with a passion. So probably around here is where we're going to be putting our workshop. We will need to certainly level the ground. So that is probably going to be our next project, most likely. So it's time for another time lapse. Well, it's technically done. Apologies for the cut kind of at the end of the time lapses. I've been having a small bit of problem with the replay mod. Now, obviously, as you can see, it still technically works, but it seems like it's having a bit of an issue where it'll just crash out in the middle of doing a replay. I think this is an issue with the fact that I'm kind of bootstrapping the old fabric version of the replay mod into a Neo Forge pack. So the way I'm planning on trying to fix that is that there's apparently a official port of it for Neo Forge, and I'm going to try and switch over to that. And hopefully for the next episode, that fixes it. But we'll see. But as you can see, there was a couple of cuts. Those typically were when the replay kind of crashed out. So apologies for that. But as you can see, building is done, including some roof inspectors, it appears. So you can see we've got this kind of nice little trim at the side of it that I think looks kind of pretty, honestly. Eventually, I'm going to be putting some stuff up onto the roof, just industrial stuff, obviously. But for now, this is how it's going to stay. And then on the inside, whoops, daisies, there we go. You can see it's pretty much empty with a few exceptions. I did bring all of our current manufacturing stuff inside the building. I will be hooking all those up between episodes, and next episode I'll show you what exactly it is I did in order to get this all working temporarily. Eventually this will all go onto a main power grid for the entire park, but that will take place in a little while, probably maybe in a couple episodes. Mostly just because I don't have the resources to build what it is that I'm wanting to build, which is a water offshore wind farm. Yeah, that is the correct. I was trying to remember if that's what it is actually, but it's an offshore wind farm that's going to be close, kind of, to the entrance of the park, which I believe I vaguely mentioned during the time lapse. I say that because I actually have not yet recorded the audio for the time lapses as of recording this. So, assuming that I remember that, good job, me. If I didn't, surprise, they're going to be by the entrance of the park. We'll see. Hopefully, I remember. But unfortunately, because it has taken me so long with all of the technical difficulties and a couple of other things that happened in real life that I had to kind of deal with, I haven't actually had a huge amount of time to record this episode. In fact, I've got about 30 minutes until my midnight till my midnight deadline to start uploading. So yeah, it's gonna be kind of a shorter episode this week. Sorry about that. But as always, I hope you enjoyed the time lapses. And in fact, if you enjoyed it and you want to see a tiny bit more content after the end of this, you you get to see some bloopers. By which I mean you get to see me dealing with the nonsense that has been this whole replay mod nonsense, which was not fun. So you'll get to see that. Yay! So you'll get to see that if you're really interested. If not, you can go ahead and leave the video uh, in just a few seconds after I say my goodbyes, as always. Because, as always, I want to thank you all for joining me. This is a project that I've been wanting to work on for a long time. And I'm so glad that it seems like some of you are actually enjoying what's going on enough to watch the video. So I do greatly appreciate that. And if you enjoyed it and you want to see more of it, make sure you hit that subscribe button so you get notified when the next video comes out. And if you like this, obviously, make sure you hit that like button. And if you have any ideas for the park, such as rides or themes for the park areas that you would like to see, make sure to leave that down in the comment section down below, because I love to hear from you guys. And as always, I will see you in the next video. Bye! The particle. It's glow squids? No. No, there's no way it's glow squids. I refuse to believe it's glow squid. There's nothing J. Okay, hold on. Exception caught during firing event class. Play remote command class. App. It might be an issue just because I'm bootstrapping around the issue. No, because that's also an arena. I'm just going to assume that it's an issue with glow squids for the time being. Uh, uh, okay. Glow squids are bad news, I guess. That is a new one, I'll admit. And that just crashed the record. Oh my god. What is going on? Look, the event handler out of a readable dimension. Uh, I'm just trying to record a replay, for God's sakes. It's already 8:14. I want to get my dinner, damn it. Oh my god, this is so painful. This should not be this painful to fix. I'm almost tempted to just swap over at this point. This is ridiculous. Oh my god. Load in, try and jump forward. Deal with it then. Pause. Texas. Go 83 minutes. Don't crash. Thank you. That's the mason table, which means that I probably had not yet done that. Okay. Hopefully this works. Once again, editing me. I apologize that I was stupid and did not take the time to fix this beforehand. And away we go. Apologies.